What's up, Rock Student Ministry? It is good to see you guys today. My name is Finklea, and I'm a addition pastor for the Rock Church, and I'm excited to just be able to communicate to you as we are in week 3 of our Faith Is series. And if you're someone who's watching us just from being online, thank you for joining us as well. We're excited about it. But if you are local, if you're in this area, make sure you sign up for our camp. It's going to be one of the greatest experiences of your entire summer. June 16th through the 20th for high school, June 20th through the 23rd for middle school. You can sign up for that on the app. I know it's one of my favorite weeks, and I know when it's one of my favorite weeks because a bunch of crazy stuff happens. Like every single year, without a doubt, something insane happens. And I'm be honest, I'm just one of those guys who loves when insane things happen. There's a great example of this back in like the early 2000s. There's a pitcher named Randy Johnson who was throwing in a spring training game, and as he winded up, he threw some gas and just absolutely ripped it. And as he threw that ball, a pigeon flew in and was exploded. Now, I could try to give you that mental image, or I could just show you the video real quick. So we're gonna watch this video real fast. Yeah, so I love that video. Like, it was just insane. When the first time I saw it, I was like, how did that happen? There's no way. Like, what are the odds of that occurring? And it blew my mind. And I do think there's something to that, like where I enjoyed it so much. Like, if I had to guess, you love when you hear a friend say, hey, this crazy thing happened last night or it happened yesterday. Like maybe it's a friend did something really dumb. Maybe it's a fight at school. Maybe it's you're watching sports and something incredible happens and you just feel like you have to tell somebody. Like, we love these kind of stories. There's something that draws us to it. And the reason we are drawn towards it is because we get in this routine of life. We get in this everyday habit of life where we just fall into it over and over and over and over again. And as these things happen, something crazy will happen and break up that routine. And all of a sudden there's this excitement that is brought out once again. And there's a lot of these kind of moments in the Bible. And one of my favorite examples of this is Enoch. It's a great story when you're just reading it and then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, wait, what just happened? And you're gonna see this because we're gonna walk back here for a second and we're gonna read this scripture together. So let's look at this. It says this. When Enoch was 65 years old. I mean, this dude is old. He became the father of Methuselah. And after the birth of Methuselah, Enoch lived in close fellowship with God for another 300 years. 300 years. And he had other sons and daughters. Enoch lived 365 years walking in close fellowship with God. And then check this out. If you have your phone open, really check this part out. Then one day, he disappeared because the Lord took him. Methuselah, I don't feel very good, right? Tony Stark, Spider-Man, break your heart every time, right? So how did that actually happen? Why would God do that? Well, see, that's where it's just a little bit different. It's not like Thanos doing it. It's God did it for a very different reason. And we'll see that in Hebrews 11:5. In Hebrews 11:5, it'll say this. It says, it was by faith that Enoch was taken up to heaven without dying. He disappeared because God took him. For before he was taken up, he was known as a person who pleased God. The difference between God here and Thanos is while Thanos wanted people to disappear and make the world smaller, God wanted Enoch with him for eternity. You see, Enoch's faith was so strong that God wanted to be with him right there as a reward for the life that Enoch lived. How crazy is that? That right there is unbelievable. And it was all because of the faith that Enoch had. And we should all want that kind of faith. A faith that pleases God so much that we get to experience the reward of heaven without the pain of death. But how do you have that faith right now? How do you walk that out as a middle schooler? How do you walk that out as a high schooler? How do you experience that? Well, here's the key, and here's the focus for today. We're going to throw it on the screen. Here's the focus. Ready for this? If you want to please God, you have to pursue God. If you want to please God, you have to pursue God. Here's what I mean by this. Hebrews 11, verse 6, it says this. And it is impossible to please God without faith. Anyone who wants to come to him must believe that God exists. Faith is all about pursuing God. God has called us to live a life that is following and pursuing him. And that's what faith is. Through the highs of the highs, through the lows of the lows, through the good, through the bad, through the average, deciding that we are going to pursue God no matter what our situation is. And I talked about this at Coastal Campus this Easter, but I want to bring it up here. So if you've heard this, bear with me, but I think the point still stands. Whether you realize it or not, you have a God that you are pursuing. If you want people to notice you more than anything else, guess what? Your pride is the God that you are pursuing. If you feel like you have to hit a certain number of likes on a social media post, guess what? Social media is the God that you are pursuing. If you feel like you have to be in control, guess what? You are the God that you are pursuing. If you feel like you have to drink or do drugs every weekend, that substance is the God that you are pursuing. And we chase these different things thinking that they're going to give us what we need. We feel like they're going to give us what we want. You feel like they're going to give us exactly what your heart is desiring. But they never do. And on top of that, pursuing those things doesn't please God. Only pursuing God pleases God. Hear that. Only pursuing God pleases God. He wants to be in a relationship with us. He wants to spend eternity with us. He wants us to understand him. He wants us to understand how much he loves us. He wants us to understand how much he provides for us. And the start of knowing that, the start of understanding that, the start of having that in our lives is the acknowledgement that God exists. And that he is a God that is worth following. That he is a king that is worth following. That he is the Lord of the lords. He's the King of the kings. He's forever, he's eternal, he's who we need to follow. But why is he worth following? Well, we talked about it week 1 of this series. Faith is confidence that is evident. And the confidence is found in the Lord. And that confidence is that Jesus is greater and that he will do what he says he will do. And if that's the case, if Jesus is greater and we should do what he says, and if he does what he says he will do, then we should pursue him. But there's a very specific way that we should pursue him. We have to pursue God his way. We have to pursue God his way. Look at the second part of this verse 6. We must believe that God exists and that he rewards those who sincerely, check that word out, sincerely seek him. The word sincerely is the key. Pursue God his way. Many of us say we want to follow God. Many of us say that we have a faith in God. Many of us say we want to please God by pursuing him. But that isn't shown in our lives. And why isn't that shown in our lives? Because while many of us say we want to please God by pursuing his way, we want to do it my way. We say we want to please God by doing it his way and pursuing him his way, but we want to do it my way. It's a matter of convenience. It's a matter of want. We only do it if we want to do it and it works in our schedule. If we really want to pursue God, we have to do it his way. And that means sacrificing some things. That means sacrificing that sin habit in that relationship that you're in. It means sacrificing that gossip. It means sacrificing and serving others. And it is worth it. Because when you please God, there is a great reward. But when you try to please yourself, you need repaired. Because you start to break yourself down. Enoch's reward was going up to heaven and not experiencing death. And I don't know what reward is out there for you here on this earth. If you would have asked me what Enoch's reward for his faith would be, I couldn't have told you that he was going to be taken up to heaven and not even die. So I can't tell you what your reward here is on this earth. But what I can tell you and what I can promise you, if you pursue God, pursue his ways, and you pursue his ways his way, then you will experience a reward that is an eternity in heaven. We are guaranteed that. So how do we respond to that? Well, I know in Aner, as Aner Middle School is watching this, Benny's going to take over here at this moment. But as you keep watching, the rest of you, I want you to experience God in an unbelievable way. Enoch experienced God in an unbelievable way, a way that would never be described as something that's normal. And it all came down because he had a faith that pleased God. And that's available to you. You have no idea what God can do in your life. But I do know that our faith should be pleasing. So how do we respond to make our faith pleasing? It's simple. First, you pursue God. Say, I'm going to give my life to him. If you've never done that, I encourage you to talk to your small group leader after this. Change your life and it'll change your eternity. The second thing I would say is pursue God his way. I know many of you say you're pursuing God with your life, but really take an inventory on your life and really think about on how you are responding to him on a daily basis. And if you are truly pursuing him or you're pursuing yourself. What I find so interesting is that Enoch was alive for 365 days. Or 365 years. You know how many days are in a year? 365. Then we need to follow Enoch's example every single day. Guys, thanks for watching today, and we'll catch up soon.